What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the StillStraightFire running podcast. Today's guest is Coach Donny Speas. Donnie began his collegiate career at Pima Community College before transferring to Marshall University, where he competed for 2 years. Just this year, he made the jump from athlete to coach, foregoing his final season of eligibility to accept a position as the assistant men's distance coach at Villanova. Donnie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm super pumped to be here. Yeah.
Great. Well, yeah, so let's start from the beginning. I consider you to be a true fan of the sport. So what first got you into the sport and when did you realize this was something you truly loved and wanted to pursue long term?
So I got into sport about seventh grade, summer before, I should say. Both my parents ran track in college. They ran at Rhodes, D3 down in Memphis. And, I was like most seventh graders, I wasn't really doing much. Didn't really have anything I was super interested in. My parents, they kind of like, all right, Donnie, you're running they called me Donald. Like, all right, Donald, you're gonna go run cross country. So they signed me up. I sucked. I was terrible. I still remember my first practice. I threw up in the car on the way back because I just never like ran before. And it was, yeah, I hated it that first year.
Hmm.
I think I got kind of, inklings of, oh, maybe this is something I kind of enjoy. I ran like 6 minutes in the mile that seventh grade track season, 6:02, and I thought I was, super cool because I could run a six
Yeah.
minute mile, right? Uh, then I think the moment I really like, I actually seriously enjoy this is when we were in middle school. I went to middle school in Columbus, Ohio, right? Was told, hey, there's a middle school state meet. We're going because you don't qualify for the middle school state meet back in those days.
Mhm.
You just show up.
Yeah, yeah.
And the middle school state meet was also in Columbus, so we were like, why not? And that I think that's the one of the first times I can really point to is like, oh, I like this. I'm engaged. I'm I'm bought in. Yeah,
Yeah, no, middle school meets like that are so fun. I had the same experience with mine, with all of your classmates cheering for me as I was coming around the last 100. I was like, man, I love this sport.
exactly.
Um, but yeah, so now you're into coaching. What was that process like when you were looking for a coaching position while you're still competing as an athlete last year?
Dude, it was rough. I'm not even gonna lie. It took a serious toll on my athletic career. Left a
Hmm.
lot on the table there. I mean, the last time that me and you bumped into each other in person was at the Wake Forest meet back in April,
Yeah.
right? Uh, that meet, you know, that's actually where I did my interview for Villanova was
Mhm.
that next morning when I saw you. So the night after, it was the second day of the meet. I was there for Stride Report doing the interviewing for the 15s and all that fun stuff. I left Wake at give or take 10 p.m. and made it back to Huntington at 2:45 in the morning. And this was not an unusual occurrence for me where I'd be doing that 3, 4 times a week, uh,
Mhm.
just off a one offhanded comment. It's like, oh, Donnie, you should totally come out here. By a different program I was looking at, I woke up at 3 a.m., drove 7 hours to the indoor national meet just for the like, oh, we'd love to, try to put a name into the face if you're gonna be out here type thing. So
Mhm.
a lot of a lot of full sends that were great for my career, but took a toll on my body. And, graduating a year early from college is you got to take a lot of extra classes. I was in a couple internships. I think the best way to put it is that, my final semester at Marshall, I was in 24 credits, 2 jobs, an internship, and still trying to run. And it got me to where I was. It opened a whole lot of doors, and I would do it again if it got me the chance. But it took a lot of toll on my running, and my body's still pretty messed up from I just forced through it. It's like, all right, I just got to make it 2 more months, then I can rest.
No, that's dedication right there, man. Student athlete taking additional credits, waking up at god awful hours of the morning. That's how you know you're locked in and ready to go. But I'm sure that that's going to be very beneficial in your coaching career when you're driving buses to airports at 3 a.m. and stuff. Now you're getting kind of used to that early.
We keep joking about so nationals being a couple weeks. We're like we keep joking that with the flight shut down or the flights decreased, the government shutdown, and all that, it might just be more beneficial for me to drive a van from Villanova all the way out to Columbia. And I would, it's mainly a joke, but I would do it in a heartbeat.
Honestly, honestly. So now that you've made that transition to the coaching position, I'm curious how much of your coaching style is influenced by your own experiences as an athlete? Like, what lessons or habits have you found yourself implementing in your new role as a coach?
So I try to not take too much from my experience as an athlete because ultimately I was a 4:30 miler. I don't want to be coaching guys to run 4:30. I want to be guys to be, coach guys to run 3:50.
Yeah.
But there's some stuff I've gotten a lot out of. I mean, in JUCO, I really learned how to work hard And you're gonna have a sink or swim moment in college. Every college athlete will. Do I want to be great? Is this what I really want to full send and commit my whole life to? Or is it just something that I like? Is it a hobby? I think learning how to navigate that process, that's sink or swim moment, something that I think I handled pretty fairly well, learning how to go through that. And then going over to Marshall, I was stepped more into a leadership role, just kind of tried to become the guy that could help everyone. I
Mhm.
may not be the fastest runner, but if you needed someone to talk to, I got really good at getting into that role. I was the one who was hosting just about every team dinner. My senior year, every team dinner was either hosted by me or organized by me. So if it got pretty complicated trying to fit all that into the
Mhm.
24 credits and all that fun stuff, but it
Yeah.
was worth it. Just learning how to live under that pressure. And then in terms of nuts and bolts, I'd always be trying to study up. I'd read a lot of just any article I could get my hands on about running. I'd read up
Mhm.
on it. I'd talk to my old mentors, my old coaches about it. I still talk to my coach at JUCO, Coach Mark Bennett, doing wonderful things. Just won the JUCO national title in cross country out at Iowa Central. Still talk to him about a lot of things. I talk to my internship boss about a lot of things. Talk to my high school coach about a lot of things. We just bounce ideas and just getting to the point where I can have those intelligent running, training based conversations with people. That's the best thing that you could possibly do if you're trying to build into a coach too.
Yeah. No, and I can totally agree with what you just said about the sink or swim. Just put your nose to the grindstone mentality. Just yesterday, you posted a video of Marco Lingan running some track repeats in 26-degree weather and 28-mile-an-hour winds.
Dude,
And
it
so
felt way worse
if you
out
can do
there.
that, then you can do just about anything.
Yeah. And I think that's why if you find those types of athletes, they're everywhere out there. They're athletes that have that sink or swim mentality, that have had that moment and just they've answered the questions. Have you read the book John L. Parker's Once a Runner?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, actually, you know what? The stupid question. I for sure I know that you have, but there's one line that I always look back at. It's just, no, there's 80 million lines to look back at in that book, but there's one line goes something along, the gist of, Quentin Cassidy, he's answered those questions. He knows what he has to do. It's just the pain and the unrelenting grind. It's just part of his life now. Once you make that question, you look inside yourself, you answer those questions, everything else gets a whole lot more simple.
Yeah. Yeah, no, one thing I learned from Rocky Hansen being here, he basically said, and if you want to be the best at something, you kind of have to be a little bit insane.
Yep.
And
Be a
that
little bit
really stuck
delusional.
with me. He said that about 25 minutes into a sauna session, and it made the last 5 minutes go by pretty quick.
Yep. No, I agree completely. You just gotta be delusional.
Yeah.
If you told me, back in 2019 or even at the end of high school, my high school career, I broke 18 in the 5K three times. Broke 18 in the 5K three times. I was a pretty terrible runner out of high school. That if you had told me, I'd been a Division I athlete, that I'd run under 16 minutes for the 5K, and that I'm coaching at one of the best schools in history. I mean, you see the wall behind me of all the Olympians that have come through this program. That you got to be delusional. You got to just tune out a lot of the noise there too. You just got to be delusional and full send everything.
Man, that's incredible. So, wow. As you said, you're a product of the JUCO League. You started out at community college. Most
Yep.
community colleges don't even have a team. You ran for that team for a year. You
Yep.
moved to Marshall, very small school in West Virginia,
Go
and
herd.
yeah, you competed there for 2 years, and now you're at one of the most respected programs in the entire nation. So, what has that been like stepping into such a new position at a respected program like that?
There's one story that I like to point to. It was like my second week here. We were going up to Lehigh for our opener meet. Are the bosses here? They're like, all right, Donnie, we kind of want you to take, control of this one. If this is your meet, because ultimately, if we mess something like that, it's it's just the Lehigh opener. If we mess up,
Mhm.
it's not that big of a deal. So what I did, I printed the course maps in black and white. I looked back because it's been a weird adjustment getting used to a program that actually has resources. A lot of my career has been, you know, at JUCO Nationals. We stayed at a hotel that was just super sketchy. Like it's Tallahassee, Florida. It was an
Mhm.
awesome trip, but the hotel was just pretty jank.
Yeah.
We wake up at 4 a.m., drive 4 or 5 hours up to Flagstaff, race at NAU, and then drive 4 or 5 hours back in the same day.
Man.
Uh, it's just getting to a program that actually has resources is a big learning curve for me, where
Mhm.
I'm trying to bring some of that underdog, type of mentality and mindset out here, but learning, hey, we have resources. We should try to use them.
Mhm.
Uh, that and learning just, I got to shut up and learn here.
Yeah.
I made sure I went went to a program where I knew I was not going to be the smartest person. That was I know the least of anyone on our staff here, and I think I know a decent amount about the sport.
Yeah.
But going to a place and just shutting up and learning. Matt and Marcus are two of the greatest coaches out there in this country, and they've done some amazing things, coached some amazing athletes, and just being able to sit here and Coach Gina too, the women's coach, is phenomenal as well, two-time coach of the year.
Yeah.
Just getting to learn and have conversations about the sport, state of the sport, training, everything, just learning from them as much as possible has been the best part of this job.
Well, I'm sure. Then you just answered my next question. Well, it'd be the most rewarding part. But I do want to know, like, what's the flip side of that? What's been the most challenging part of this new role?
I think a lot of it is, proving myself too. I have a lot of imposter syndrome when I get here. It's just like what I said earlier. I'm a guy who ran 4:30. I went to a JUCO. I ran for Marshall. That's not the type of guys you see typically going to work at Villanova. It's just proving myself like, hey, I'm here for a reason. I belong here. And I'm trying to make, even if just a small impact, I'm trying to make an impact on the guys here and on the program just as an entirety. I want to go and prove that I'm here for a reason. That's been the hardest part. That, I can only, kind of have to distance myself from a lot of my old friends. They're wonderful people, but just, they're active college athletes for another team. I can only say so much for them. And that's pretty hard too.
Yeah.
And, the whole I'm not in a spot where I can actively run and chase those types of goals and coach. I just kind of got to take a step back, recognize I need to put all my energy into this. I moved to Philadelphia. I've never even been to Philadelphia until I moved out here for this job. I came out here to full send for the job. I got to recognize, I got to push everything else to the side for at least a couple of years.
Yeah, man, that's great. And continuing on that transition, every team has its own unique culture and mindset. How does Villanova's team mentality compare to what you experienced in Marshall and Pima?
It's good. Let me think about that one for a little bit. It's got a bit of a mix of both, where the guys here are great. And I say the guys because I primarily only work with the men's team, so I can only really comment on those. But they all care immensely. I mean, you got guys that are coming in from overseas, from Australia, from Ireland. You got to make that huge jump where if you're Australia's like a 16-hour flight away from here, Ireland's on the other side of the Atlantic. You got to be really bought in and care a lot about the sport if you're going to make that jump.
Oh, yeah.
So you could tell everyone here is dedicated and locked in, is that they're here for a reason. But they find a way to make things fun too. They're very good at flipping that switch of when they can, joke around, mess around, and when they are locked in. I think like when we went up to Nuttycombe a couple weeks ago, 2 nights before, we went to Texas Roadhouse. The guys had me drive them. It's like, you know what? If I'm here, I'm gonna have dinner here too, right? So sit with them, and then they tell the waiter it's my birthday, right? Just it wasn't my birthday, right? Just out of nowhere, yada yada. They do all the whole weird birthday clapping celebration type stuff, and everyone's just dying laughing, myself included. It was a pretty fun moment. Then the next day, the team meeting, yada yada, the night before the race, you can just hear that shift. That the van ride over to the course, not a word was spoken. It's just, you hear a pin drop. Everyone is locked in, and they're very good at flipping a switch. Big East, it's the exact same way. We went to the Air and Space Museum, or it was right by the course. There was some big plane out there, and Devin and CJ were out there messing around on that. But then the next day when they're out there on the course, you could tell it's just, we're here to run.
Yeah.
We're here to run, but we know how to have fun when it's the right time too.
That's the perfect transition. You got to be able to have fun, love what you're doing, but also flip that switch and know when to lock in.
Exactly.
But speaking on that Big East championships, you guys just came off a third place finish there, and you're currently ranked fourth in the Mid-Atlantic Regionals heading into this weekend. So what do you think it's going to take for the team to move into those top two spots and secure an auto bid to nationals?
A little bit of good luck, a little bit of hoping and praying, but I think we're making the right steps. If you look at, so we've raced Georgetown at every meet, with the exception of the opener, every meet this season. And we've looked sneakily better and better each time. And we were 20 points behind Georgetown at the Big East meet. And I think we have a solid shot of pulling off that upset and sliding into the top two. It's definitely not a guarantee. It's definitely not a given. The odds are probably against us, but it's a sizable enough shot. And I think the guys in the locker room, they recognize that too. It's like, we are the underdogs here, but we still have a realistic shot of making it. But it's just, there's not much we can do at this point. You got to hope and pray and make sure everyone's there to give their all when the gun, goes off 1 p.m.
Yeah. And continuing off of that, it's no secret that Lingen hasn't been racing this season. Can you walk me through that decision to redshirt him during his junior year, especially after such an impressive season last year?
Uh, I think honestly, well, I think we can be a top 10 team next year in the country. We have a lot of good pieces. You got Bailey Havler, he was 13:28 for 5K. Charlie Moore, 13:40 something. He was ninth at Big East this year. 13:40 last year as a true freshman. Ninth this year as a freshman year cross country. Nick Sullivan ran 29:07 for 10K. You got, what else do we have there? You get just a lot of good pieces coming in. Cam Collier, a high school recruit we had in coming out of Atlanta. He'll be good for us. We got Kaylin McFadden coming over from Ireland. Very good on the Irish cross country scene there. Oh, and we have CJ Sullivan, of course. Sorry, I'm blanking on him. He was the first guy out of nationals last year in the 5K. We have a lot of pieces there. Ben Thomas, another one. Been making huge strides on the grass this year for us. He's a 336 guy, and has been looking better and better over the grass this year. We have a lot of pieces, and sorry if I'm forgetting someone. We have a lot of pieces that are there. And I think if those pieces click, we should be a top 10, maybe even a top 5 team on the right day. To do that, we need Marco back. Probably the best American runner in the NCAA, or one of. I know you're probably going to lean towards Rocky on that one. I understand. But he's one of the best American runners in the country. I don't see a reason why he couldn't win nationals next year.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the last time Villanova had an individual cross-country championship, it was Patrick Tiernan in 2016 in Terre Haute, Indiana. It's 10 years ago, or it will be 10 years ago when the nationals rolls around. Terre Haute is the site of next year's cross-country championships. And if that's not destiny, it's prophecy, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect setup for Marco to, go win an individual title and bring that team really high up. Yeah.
You're really selling this. I'm about to go and buy stock in Villanova for next year. Buy right
Do
now
my
and
job.
you are fourth in the region and man, hopefully it'll pay off. So yeah, like I mentioned before, you seem to know just about everybody in the sport. What's one piece of advice that someone's given you that's really stuck with you?
There's a lot of good people have said a lot of good things to me here, but I'm not sure if it was advice, but words of confidence that have stuck with me, more than anything else, is that confidence advice, something that this was my first year coaching. I was working with the high school that I ran with, Mountain View, out in Orem, Utah. Wonderful program. They just won the 5th straight title in Utah. But so I was ran for them. I was hanging around a little bit out. I graduated a year early, just working at Chick-fil-A. My pleasure. I was helping the team. We had this guy, Brock. Brock started out running 24 minutes that year. It's his first year running. I worked with him a lot that year, just try to be as close as possible with him. End of the year, he ran 19 flat at the 5K. The way both him, his parents, and his sister all came up to me and said just they appreciated everything I'd done for him. That's the thing that kind of stuck with me the most. I can keep chasing that feeling, to make this kid's life so much better, to make it enjoy running, to get him bought into the sport, enjoying the team, enjoying the sport. As long as I can keep chasing that feeling, that's the best thing I think I've ever heard as a coach, and probably might ever will until, maybe something else will pop up. Yeah. But
I mean, that's great advice right there. And I mean, flipping it around now, if you could give one piece of advice to a young runner who's just getting into the sport, what would it be?
I think early on you have to, once you get to the point where you're like, hey, I kind of like the sport, you got to sit down and realize, what do you want from it? Because if you know your intention and you go after it with all your heart, all your might, if you find your intention, go after it, you're going to be really successful. Whether it's you want to have a great experience with your guys, have a lot of fun in high school, just be around people you enjoy, doing something you all enjoy, that's great. If you want to be the best runner to ever live, that's great. You got to find your intention, find out what you want from the sport, and just dig into it and be delusional. You could, if you're going to clip one thing, clip this: be delusional.
Exactly.
You got to be delusional. You got to tune out all the noise. The amount of people that have say, "Oh, this is crazy, Donnie. This is crazy." I know it's crazy. You just got to full send it. You got to embrace the fact that it's crazy and just make that your identity.
I mean, yeah, speaking of delusional, I feel like this pretty much answers the question right there. But what would young Donnie, who had just broken 18 minutes in the 5K for the first time ever, say if you told him that in just 5 years you would be coaching at Villanova? What would he say?
I think he'd be pretty proud of me.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a little concerned I wasn't actively running. I'll say that. But he'd be proud of me of just as young as, 8th grade, I kind of caught that feeling of like, I want to do something special in this sport and I'm on the right path. And if, 15-year-old Donnie, which is how old I was, and he'd be very proud of where I'm at right now. And I tell myself that a lot.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm going through a rough patch as an athlete or as a coach, I think like younger me would be so proud of what I'm doing right now.
So true. Yeah. And Yeah, just going off of what you just said there, being a coach, not an athlete, how is that running in your personal sense like right now? What does that look like? Are you going for runs for fun? Do you do any running, just focus solely on coaching?
I run, maybe about once or twice a week. It's more
Hmm.
for health than anything else.
Yeah.
And this sounds stupid, but I like to go out and do a workout now and then. A, because I think workouts are more fun than easy runs.
Mhm.
I just like running
Yeah.
fast. But it's just I want to stay in touch with what my guys are feeling. I can't prescribe a workout if I don't know, if I don't stay in touch with what that type of pain feels like. But I don't run near as much as I used to. I used to be 70-ish miles a week. Now I'm like 10 on a good week.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's just I'm working another job on top of this. Don't make a lot of money. I'll tell you that much. Don't go into coaching if you're trying to make a lot of money. Or don't go into coaching running. Go coach football or basketball. You'll make tons of money. So it just I hate it, but I find I'm a better coach and can get a lot more things done if I don't run a lot.
Gotcha.
It's a
Yeah.
very tough balance.
Hey, sink or swim and just lock into your new position. That's what you have to do sometimes. And you've worked so hard for this. I think it's great that you're kind of putting that on the back burner to go all into this role that you've worked so hard to get. But yeah, man, I love that. Donnie, it's been so awesome having you on episode 7 of the Still Straight Fire Running podcast. Thank you for sharing your story and your insight. And congrats again on your new role at Villanova. And best of luck as you keep building your coaching career.
Thanks, Stuart. Seriously, I love being on this thing. I love podcasts. I've done a few Stride before. I always like them.
Great talking with you, Donnie.
Likewise.